But I do see a bigger long-term problem for Buffalo. And to me, this is it. It's on the defensive side of the ball. Buffalo, and they have a linebacker problem. You guys found the RFL show. Don't forget to go down and hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss our videos that we put out every week. We respond to the biggest games, and we give you the most accurate picks every single week. Sunday Night Football, Baltimore Ravens, Buffalo Bills. The Ravens handed an absolute ass whooping to the Bills, 35-10. We're going to talk one team. We'll switch it to the other about halfway through the video. Just my takeaway be for the Baltimore Ravens. This really seemed like a get-right game for them. Not in terms of, they didn't have a good game last week or their season's completely been derailed. They just start 1-2. But, I mean, it just seemed like they're a team to me that strikes me as they need to play with a lead. And they did that early. I think Derrick Henry had, 79, 84, something like that, yard touchdown run on the first drive. So, they worked to their game plan, which was just, we want to get a lead, let our defense do what it does and choke out other teams. So,
yeah, they really just ran the football here. I have the actual stats here that Derrick Henry ran for 196 yards and a touchdown on 22 carries. Also, Lamar Jackson played solid too. He didn't have to do a whole lot because Derrick Henry ran for 200 yards. But he went for 13 for 18, 156 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Also ran for 54 yards and scored a rushing touchdown. So they didn't really have to do a lot. Like, he didn't really have to do a lot. The running game kind of took care of itself there. And it's just really, I was watching it, and it was towards the middle of the third quarter, right? It was 21-10. Bills were driving a little bit, and I was like, oh no, the same thing's going to happen to the Ravens as last week, right? The Cowboys kind of came back a little bit. It's like the same thing's going to happen. And the Bills got too cute, ran a trick play, strip sack, and from there, the game was pretty much over. The Ravens just took over the game. So yeah, no, you're spot on, man. This definitely felt like a get-right game for them. And again, the running game worked out well. Lamar, even when he had to, threw it. They converted 5 of 8 third downs tonight. So you can't ask for much better than
5 and 9 on third downs. Great efficiency. And I agree with everything you're saying. It was a matter of Lamar Jackson only had to throw when he really needed to. He had 13 of 18 for 156 yards. Another thing I kind of want to identify here that, because Derrick Henry had an amazing game, almost 200 yards rushing, 8.3 yards per carry. But Justice Hill, as a change of pace back, he looked phenomenal. He put up 78 yards himself on 78 yards on 6 receptions. So just a great game for him as, again, that change of pace, kind of scat back. Yeah, the Ravens clearly have one style of play that works for them to win, and that's they need to get a lead early and just dominate with that lead. Let the run game flourish, let their defense choke out opposing offenses. What did you see from the Ravens defense?
Yeah, they pretty much just stuffed the Bills offense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pulling up the stats here too for the Bills. The Bills went 3 for 13 on third down. Awful for the Bills, great for the Ravens defense. They were flying all over the place. They finished the game. The Ravens defense finished the game with 3 sacks. Again, they forced that strip sack. I think it was Kyle Van Noy who got that strip sack. I'm pretty sure. They were flying all over the place, man. The Ravens defense only gave up 236 total yards. I don't know. Besides that chunk play that Josh Allen had to Shakir, is that how I say his last name? Shakir?
Khalil Shakir.
It was I think it was second or third down. He heaved it. Josh Allen heaved it 50 yards, right? That was a big chunk play to end up scoring. Besides that play, the Bills offense couldn't do anything against that Ravens defense.
Yeah, and to me, this Ravens team, if they can continue to play like this, like what we saw tonight, that's a team that can definitely win the AFC North. That's a team that can make a deep playoff run. That's a team I think we're expecting to see. And it was great to finally see Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson's connection start working, kind of how we expected it to go when Derrick Henry signed with the Ravens. So it was phenomenal to finally see that happening. But again, to me, this is a team that can make an absolute deep run in the playoffs. So obviously we have a lot of praise to say about the Ravens. They dominated this game from the run, from the jump, whatever you want to say it, from the go. It was all Ravens. Let's talk about the Bills. So what did you see with Josh Allen in that offense tonight? Because again, as we kind of mentioned, they only had 280 yards, something like that. Terrible on third down. What was it that you saw? What was your takeaway from this?
Yeah, I mean, just watching it first, just the blind eye test, it just seemed like Josh Allen was never comfortable in the pocket, right? It just seemed like he was always evading out to his left or right, trying to extend that play, get those big chunk plays, which that tells me either one, he was getting pressure in his face right now, which kind of caused him to leave that pocket, or two, just nothing was open in like structure, right? So the Ravens defense is, again, like we don't have the advanced stats on us right now, just because we're doing this right after the game. But to me, it just felt like the Ravens pressure was just overwhelming for the Bills O-line and Josh Allen, and they couldn't really get a whole lot of stuff in structure. And then they also didn't run the ball all that well either. If you look at the team stats here, they had only 81 yards rushing, which on the surface doesn't seem too bad, right? 21 of that came from Josh Allen. Again, we don't have the stats in front of us to see like were there any QB design runs, were they scrambles? Again, then if they were scrambles, it tells us the Ravens pressure was just hitting home and that he was finding lanes to run. James Cook finished the game with 9 carries, 39 yards. They weren't running a whole lot.
Yeah, and I was going to tack onto that right now. So to me, again, I have the stats pulled up too. It seems like they really didn't they kind of abandoned the run game, which obviously, you're falling behind early. I think it was like in the first quarter, like 14-0. It really kind of felt like it snowballed fast. But you can't just, I mean, they had what looks like here 22 attempts in a game. 22 attempts. It's not great. No one had double-digit attempts. Josh Allen was very ineffective tonight. 16 to 29, 180 yards. And we can go around this all day. But here's what we need to remember, because we're at the Rational Football League. We're trying to take rational takes to everybody here. Do you view this as a long-term problem for Buffalo? Is this one game off, or is this something that, it feels like we keep having to see with the Bills, where it's Josh Allen needs to put on his Superman cape and save this goddamn team?
I don't think it's a long-term problem. I just think they stepped into, I guess lack of better words, the dragon's mouth tonight in Baltimore, and got a, good old-fashioned butt whooping. I just think that the Ravens felt like they had something to like prove. Not like the Bills didn't, but I was listening to a broadcast for a game during the noon slate today. I don't know how truthful this fact is, because the commentator just kind of said it. But he said in this new playoff format, after adding that 7th seed, a team that started 1-3 has like never made the playoffs, right? So this is the game the Ravens almost had to win based off that fact. If they went 1-3, their back is against the wall there, right? So I kind of just felt like they had something to prove. They came out hot. The Bills, everyone has a plan to get punched in the mouth, right? So the Bills got punched in the mouth fast. And then they couldn't really recover from that. They almost did. They got too cute. They fumbled. They lost a chance, and that's pretty much the whole game. So I think it's one of those games. The Bills comes in, Monday or Tuesday. I guess Tuesday, because Monday's a rest day, and be like, listen, this game was trash. We'll watch film. We'll learn from it. But it was just all around trash game.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100% there. I know the statistic or whatever. It really did feel like a must-win game for the Ravens. I know it's early to say that it's week 4 that we're here in right now, but it really did feel like that, because there's already teams that are 0-2 that feel like their playoff chances have slipped, and the Ravens really couldn't afford to fall behind. And especially when you had Pittsburgh starting out 3-0, that automatically just puts pressure on you in that division. Buffalo did come in looking pristine at 3-0, so I don't want to say they didn't have an incentive to win this game. Obviously, of course, they had an incentive to win this game, but clearly, like you said, they had a plan until they got punched in the mouth. That 80-plus yard run by Derrick Henry on the first drive really, I think, put Buffalo on its heels early. And something to me that kind of struck out is, I kind of expected coming into the season, Khalil Shakir would step up for Buffalo. I expected him to be a good receiver, underrated receiver most people hadn't heard of. They traded away Stephon Diggs. But I think what we're seeing here with Buffalo is another instance of, I don't want to go this far yet. Again, try to be rational. It's one game. But I'm seeing a trend of not Alshon, what the fuck is his name? AJ Brown. Where Tennessee traded away AJ Brown and thought, oh, we can just replace this with a high draft pick, and that didn't work out for them. And we kind of seems like we have a similar situation here, where it's like, we don't need Stephon Diggs. He's drama. We don't want Stephon Diggs. We can replace him with Keon Coleman. I know, again, it wasn't a first round pick. I believe he was a second round pick, high second round pick, something like that. And so far, this game he had 3 catches for 51 yards. He had, I think, a brutal drop early in the game, if I remember correctly. But it's just, the chemistry hasn't been there for Buffalo, and it feels like they're really kind of struggling with an identity right now. At least, again, in this game, they struggled with an identity. I should definitely clarify that. But I do see a bigger long-term problem for Buffalo. And to me, this is it. It's on the defensive side of the ball. Buffalo, and they have a linebacker problem. They absolutely have a linebacker problem. Baltimore took advantage of those linebackers all game with the lack of eye discipline, not filling holes, not filling rush assignments, getting lost in coverage. It felt like every time I was watching a play, the backers were nowhere around. These guys, Derrick Henry's running around the edge. Derrick Henry's going through the hole, and there's no one to meet him in the hole. I saw one where Picard, the fullback from Baltimore, just pushed the linebacker into the safety, and it just opened up a massive hole for Derrick Henry. So, and I understand for Buffalo, it's tough. You have Milano's out for the season with a torn tricep, I believe. You have Terrell Edmonds is out with a pectoral injury. You're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here. But they need to find a solution. I don't know if it's you bring in Shaquille Leonard, who the Colt to Eagle. If they bring him, try pick up a free agent, make a trade. I don't know, but that defense to me right now seems very suspect. It seems like a huge cap on their season. You're not going to be able to make it far if you don't have at least a decent linebacking core. That's a huge red flag to me. What did you see with the Bills defense? You seen what I see, or am I just way out of left field here?
Yeah, when you're in for a long night when you let the opposing team run it 80 yards for a touchdown, when that's what they want to do. Derrick Henry in the run game is their focal point, right? And you just let them just go gash, right? It's going to be a long night after that happens. To your point, they could probably look at the free agent market. I know it took Terrell Bernard right now. He was out for tonight, so they did have a backup middle linebacker in, I guess. So you can maybe look at it like, okay, they had a backup in, whatever. But when you get gashed for over 200 rushing yards, though, you can't let that happen, especially against that Ravens offense, and we all know they're going to run. So I think it's one of those things that we got to just break down the film afterwards to kind of see what was going on. But definitely on the surface, that's not good, man. It's not.
Yeah, and to be honest, it doesn't get any easier here, because next week you play against the Texans with Ben Slovic, who's coming from the Kyle Shanahan offense, which is all about messing up your linebackers' eye discipline. They're trying to test you. They're trying to show everything left, come back right with play action. They're trying to get you to flow right for a counter out the backside. It's all about messing with the eye discipline. And if the Ravens are able to just gash you, and they're not trying to hide anything. They're not trying to disguise anything. They tell you what we're doing. We are running right at your face 40 times a game. Stop us. And you give up 200 plus yards. I don't see it getting easy. You got the Texans next, then you go face the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, who's known for picking defenses apart, and then you get a little reprieve, against Tennessee the week after that. So I don't know how long Bernard's out for. I know pectoral injuries are pretty serious, so I imagine he's probably got a couple more weeks at the very least. Hopefully, it's not out for season. But yeah, they need to find a solution, because the slate doesn't get any easier here, and it could quickly become a 3-3 season after these next 2 games.